This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Grant, it is the hallowed week that many people are terrified of. Small children run and scream. It is finals week, Grant.
Oh, I thought you were talking about something sports related.
No, it has nothing to do with sports, Grant. It is finals week.
What is going on?
It is finals week, Grant, at college, and freshmen are cowering under tables. Seniors are just ready to be done.
They're flipping the tables.
They are flipping the tables and picking the freshmen up and throwing them as well, just because they are so done with college. That's kind of how I feel, Grant. I am excited to graduate this coming Saturday, Lord willing, that I pass all my finals, and I'll be on my way to bigger and brighter things, a.k.a. marriage.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
20 days?
19 days. 19 days. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord.
That is really soon.
It's exciting, isn't it, though? I mean, how were you feeling now, 2 or 3 weeks before you got married? Were you jittery? Were you excited? Or were you like, I'll get there?
I was kind of
Eh? When does it start to kick in? When should I expect the nervousness and jitters to hit me?
I don't know, because it's different, because I only had, a 2-month engagement period,
I suppose.
You've had a lot longer than I have.
I suppose. So maybe, right before I walk down there, I'll be like, oh, okay, now that's why I'm supposed to be nervous now. No, that's not it at all. But anyway, it is a Monday edition of the Bax and Grant Sports Show. A little bit of a revised show today. We have no intern Laura today, no Connor Christensen today, but we do have Chris Gibbons today. A good friend of ours. He'll be taking a look at the NBA playoffs with us here.
The
playoffs, Grant. They are in full swing, and they are mad. And we will talk with him in just a little bit here. But before we do all of that, Grant, where can the good people find us on social media?
They can find us on Twitter at BG Sports Show. They can also find us on Facebook at the Bax of Grant Sports Show. You can hit us up on Instagram by using the hashtag the Bax Grant Sports Show. And by using that hashtag, the picture will show up on Sports Radio America. And you can also Gmail us at bgsportshow@gmail.com.
Yes, indeed. And you can also listen to the show live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. Central right here on Spreaker.com. And you can also tune in from 12 to 3 Eastern on SportsRadioAmerica.com, Live 365, and tune in. You can also listen to us on demand anytime on iTunes and on iHeartRadio as well. Just another announcement and reminder for you. This is our last week of our regular shows. This coming Friday will be our final show of the semester / spring season. I know. Before we go to our summer break, but we will be off the air for about 4 weeks or so. I'll be down in Florida and then on my honeymoon, so I'll be off the air for a while. But then we will recommence over the summer months. From everything I've heard from Sports Radio America, we will have about a Monday afternoon or evening show.
Okay.
So keep that in mind for your listening pleasure, and we'll obviously let you know on Facebook and Twitter and everything once we get more official details. But Monday night starting in June is when all of that will start.
And then another announcement, little note, is that today we will not be running on the Cube. So if anybody is interested what happened to the Cube or wanted to go look at the Cube, that is not happening today. It was not cooperating this morning, so we're cubeless.
Yes, we are. We are cubeless, but we are not Chris Gibbons-less this morning, so we'd like to welcome in Chris Gibbons. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm just great. How are you guys?
Not too bad. We're excited to finally have you join the show. We've been trying to get you on for a while, but you've had classes that conflicted. But the nice thing about finals week, Chris, is that you don't have a normal schedule anymore, so it worked out for you to come on today, so we're excited to have you here and talk a little NBA playoffs. So, Chris, we'll jump right into it. A really crazy last weekend in the NBA playoffs. 3 different games ending in buzzer beaters. Grant says that's
enough.
Child's play.
Not
apparently.
Not enough.
Okay. Don't mind him, Chris.
You need more to impress.
Looking at all the series, Chris, of the 4 that are going on right now, Atlanta, Washington, Chicago, Cleveland, Golden State, Memphis, and the Clippers and Rockets. What out of those 4 series have really jumped out to you as the best one so far of the second round?
So far, I think it might be the Bulls-Cavaliers series because that had 2 of the 3 buzzer beaters.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely not Clippers-Rockets because Clippers, it started off kind of close, and now the Clippers are just kind of running the board.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because a lot of people thought that James Harden was going to be able to really help propel the Rockets to a series win here, but so far, even with Chris Paul playing on a banged-up leg and not even playing for some of the series, Clippers still managed to be up 3-1, Grant, and a lot of people, I think, are surprised by that.
Yeah, but with Harden, you got to look back kind of at what I'll call it as LeBron James syndrome. You can't win a championship by basically putting the team on your back. And we've seen that. And yeah, you do have 4 other guys on the court, but when he's clearly the most, or one of the, the most talented guy on the team. I don't think anybody would disagree with me when I say that. But the same thing happened with LeBron James all of his years in Cleveland. And
Way
kind
back
of,
in the day with Cleveland.
yeah,
yes.
and happening right now back at Cleveland is that I don't think he's going. The Cavaliers are going to win the championship, and I don't think that the Rockets are going to win the championship. Basically, because you need the whole team. It took the star-studded Heat to be able to dominate the way they did on the court the last couple of seasons.
And looking around at all the teams left in the playoffs right now, Chris, is there any team that really has that star-studded talent / mentality? I mean, I look at Golden State. You have Steph Curry. And you have Klay Thompson, the Splash Brothers, as people call them. But is that enough to propel a team? Or do you look at a Chicago team that's got Derrick Rose, Jimmy Butler, Pau Gasol, Joakim Noah, some pretty big guys there that can really produce on any given night?
I do think Chicago does have possibly the most star power. I would say the Clippers with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan.
But he's not fully healthy, though. Chris Paul is battling that leg injury. So I feel like in that regards, you can't fully... Mm-hmm. I mean, but Chris Paul still is able to work a lot of magic, as we've seen. But I get where you're coming through with the Bulls. What out of these series so far has been the most disappointing for you, Chris?
I think I'm going to turn that again to Clippers, Rockets. I was expecting good games, and if you watched last night's game, it was just foul DeAndre Jordan, and they kept doing it even though it didn't work. So it was just a long game that no one wanted to watch. I turned it off because the Clippers were just absolutely destroying, and I got sick of watching free throws. So that's just
that's understandable.
A semifinal, that's just awful.
When you look at a final score like 128-95, I think a lot of people would have turned that game off relatively early.
Right, and how many free throw attempts did he have by the end of the night? Was it like
36?
36 for DeAndre Jordan, and he said he was at the line 20 times before. You said, right, Chris, before the first half was over?
Over 20.
Over 20 times.
It's the most players been at the line in a half in playoff history.
Which is absolutely stupid, in all honesty. You don't need to follow that person that many times. Like, DeAndre Jordan's a good player, but I don't feel like he's lights out in that regards, and obviously he's probably one of the worst free throw shooters we've seen in a while, so sure, get him at the line. It's not going to end up costing him too much, but even still, Houston wasn't able to rebound and answer all the questions that were being asked of them. And then, Grant, you look at that Cavaliers-Bulls game. The Bulls, it was the tale of two halves, in all honesty. The Bulls looked to be in charge for part of the half, and then you flop back and forth with the Cavaliers, and then it comes down to the last shot of the game, and LeBron James, the king, nails the buzzer beater. I don't understand what Jimmy Butler was thinking of doing. He's like, "Oh, I'll just let him shoot. No problem. Go ahead, bud." That was probably some of the softest coverage I've ever seen on
I didn't think it was all that soft, but okay.
LeBron looked like, at least from the viewpoints I saw, LeBron had way more time than I think he should have.
Well, I guess maybe when he's trapped in the corner like that, it's not really a good spot to shoot. You have a little bit more of an advantage as a defender back there.
And you kind of assume maybe.
Right. Well, because you can pressure him to maybe get him to step out of bounds because there's not much space back there. But still, I think that was a pretty great shot to be able to nail that three from that high-pressure situation in that spot. You don't have a lot of space. And I did think it wasn't like he wasn't like breathing down his neck or anything like that, but he was still like getting his arms up. He was still in his face, so still a fantastic shot from the King.
Of course, and I absolutely agree with that. And it's interesting too because at the end of the game, there was the press conference that LeBron had at the end of the game. He was answering questions, and he actually revealed that he told the coach to scrap the play that he originally drew up at the end of the game. And LeBron said, "Listen, coach, give me the ball, let me take the shot." He's like, if I miss it, we go to overtime, no big deal. But, give me the ball. I want to win the game for us, and let's get out of here. And sure enough, he was actually supposed to be the guy to inbound the ball on their first drawn-up play.
Why would you do that?
Exactly.
I don't
understand when
I was like, as LeBron, I'd be like, Coach, you're stupid.
Yeah. And that's basically what he did because he's like, look, Coach, scratch the play, give me the ball, I'm going to win the game for us. And then he did.
I mean, why would you not want to give LeBron the ball? The only reason I can maybe think of is that the other team knows you're going to give him the ball because he's so good.
Sure.
So that's like the only thing I can think of why you would want to do that.
Like, at the same time, like, I don't know why you would have him inbound the ball. Like, maybe pass it to someone else because LeBron might get the the defense on him. Like, then you pass it to someone who's not LeBron and he takes the shot. But to have LeBron inbound the ball is...
He's basically doing nothing on the play.
Yeah, it's eliminating your biggest threat.
And if Kyrie Irving maybe was at full strength, maybe I could see him being the recipient of that first inbound pass, but... with still I think it was like 1.5 seconds or something like that was left on the clock. You need to be able to make that pass and shoot it immediately. You don't have time to throw it to somebody, throw it back to somebody else, and then shoot it again. So it's really hard to fully understand. Now, I do want to talk briefly about the Atlanta Hawks-Washington Wizards series because it's the one series I think no one's talking about because it's really boring, at least from an outsider's perspective.
And then John Wall got hurt, so that it loses some of its star power.
I was excited about that, and then
Are you a John Wall? You're not. Are you a John Wall fan? You are a John Wall
fan. Oh, we got a John Wall
fan. Grant is hates John Wall.
I'm a big John Wall hater. I don't think he's a good player. I think he's the most overrated point guard in the league just because he got drafted number 1. Even though there's I do like the song.
He's got a song?
Yeah.
You've never heard...
I didn't know John Wall had a song.
You've never heard the John Wall? Oh, we're playing that later.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea.
But yeah, he got injured game 2, I believe. Yeah, game 2.
Well, he's been fighting injuries for the last several months.
Yeah, but now he will... what I heard, it was 5 games at least, but I could be wrong.
I'm assuming Washington makes it that long.
Right, and that's against the team that had the second best record in the entire league this year. But you got to hand it to Washington, though. They're taking it to the Hawks right now. It's 2-1, and John Wall is hurt, so congratulations to them right now, but they got to finish out the series.
And I think it kind of goes back to the fact of what I've been saying for a while, is that I think Atlanta was fantastic, lights out in the regular season, that now that they've come to the postseason and have to play the same teams consecutively, they're not sure what exactly to do. I mean, they lost 2 games in the first round to the Brooklyn Nets. Come on. How do you lose 2 games to the Brooklyn Nets, Grant?
And when they lost, I think around... this number is rough, around 20...
It was 19 games. I think they lost.
Somewhere around there. Just a ridiculous small number of games for the 80-some games they play in the season. So that's really good job. Then to lose 2 games to the Brooklyn Nets, who had a losing record and was able to get into the playoffs.
Yay, East! Woo! Love the East in the NBA playoffs. Go Bucks! No, they lost, but. Yeah, look at it.
They had a 500 record.
They did.
Give them a fair cut.
I mean, 41-41. Yeah,
hey,
it is.
Hey,
you can twist that any way you want to, though. Now, I will ask you this, Chris. You are from the great state of Michigan, so I'm sorry about that. Are you a Pistons fan?
I am a Pistons fan.
Okay,
sorry.
The Pistons were probably the first team I really fell in love with as a sports fan.
Why? Why was that?
It's because I was 9 around the time the Pistons started getting really good. You had Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton.
It was around 03-ish when they started getting really good.
Mm-hmm. So. Rip Hamilton with the mask. He was the man.
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness. Did they win back-to-back championships?
No, they went to back.
That's right. They won one.
They lost to the Spurs.
Those dreaded Spurs. Tim Duncan was probably 45 at that point instead of 83 like he is now. I
don't think the math added up there, right?
Irrelevant. Anyway, all right. Well, I'm going to add some questions for both of you gentlemen before we let you go, Gibby, and then we'll get you back a little bit later on. So with all the buzzer beater madness this last weekend, there was a debate going around on ESPN and other big basketball networks about when it comes to being the last shot of the game, who do you want taking that last shot? And I was discussing this a little bit with Grant before the show, and he immediately jumped to Steph Curry because of how lights out he has been this season,
especially
with his 3-point.
Like you said, behind the arc, he's been absolutely lights out.
Yes, when it comes down to the end of the game and you need, more than 2 points to win. You need a 3-pointer to win the game.
Yeah, I
for
also
you.
thought that was an important question. Where is this happening on the court?
Yes, because we saw with the Milwaukee Bucks in their game that they were able to just throw the ball in Jared Dudley under the basket, whoop, dropping it in, a little layup, and that was for the win. That was from a weird inbound pass, but even still. So I'll ask this to you, Chris, first. Game's on the line. You need a 3-pointer to win the game. Who are if you could have 3 guys to cycle through, who would your 3 guys be to have a chance to take that 3-point shot to win it?
Well, first I'll probably just go the obvious answer, LeBron. If there's anyone who knows how to win, like, in crunch time in the NBA right now, it's probably LeBron. Like, obviously he's the best player, like, of the generation. Just give him the ball. I'm gonna also say Steph Curry, just because he's so good from 3. My third one, that's a little.
Well, the reason I asked for 3 is because I almost want to throw like a little caveat in there for a guy like maybe Kobe Bryant. Someone that is in his prime, was lights out from just about anywhere on the court.
So we're going like...
You can throw anybody, and that's why I'm saying if Michael Jordan wants to be a part of the conversation, you can, or you can throw in Ray Allen.
You just made this...
No. I didn't mean to make it sound like it was like currently in the NFL. Yes, in the NBA
Give
right
me
now.
Shaq.
Yeah, you want Shaq. Shaq from half
Give
court.
me Shaq.
Because you can look at it, because look at the guys like Russell Westbrook. You want a guy that's going to get the shot off no matter how he's angled on the floor. Russell Westbrook will always take that shot. James Harden, rightfully so, will probably take a big shot. But then you do go back to some of the grades. Ray Allen, I would kill to have Ray Allen, for a wide open 3 in the corner, or even a pressured 3 in the corner. He'd still drain it.
Right.
Look at Kobe Bryant. That man was lights out for many, many seasons.
Larry Bird, I'm sure would
be a good one as well. I mean, Kevin Durant, is he the type of guy you'd want, or is he more of a post guy down in the post?
For a contested 3, I don't know. I think he could still shoot that.
Yeah, I almost said like Kevin Durant was going to be like my third guy with an asterisk just because he was injured this season.
That makes sense, honestly. I mean, you can look at it from a few different directions, but I think at the end of the day, Michael Jordan and LeBron James both all time have 3 buzzer beaters to their names. And you can...
Well, but you also, one of LeBron's is just driving up to the post and putting in a layup for a buzzer beater.
Yes, but still you had to take that drive in, though.
Yeah, but it's not a 3-point
It's not a
shot
3-pointer, yes.
But yes, he does have 3.
Game on the line, you have
3 playoffs.
You've got to give that ball to one guy. LeBron, Jordan, more than
Michael
likely.
Jordan has a famous one.
He does, yes. Was it in the playoffs? When they
that
won?
was the playoffs.
Was it Game 7? Or no, it was just it won them the championship, right? Or did it tie it? I forget what it was.
I don't remember.
I can see the play in my head.
Just him jumping up and down after he made it with the really
Gatorade commercial,
really crappy 80s camera angle and not like what we're used to today. Yeah, like
pretty
that.
much like that. Okay, well, so you're going with. Who are you going with? You're going with Steph Curry, LeBron James, and asterisk Durant there, as it were?
That would be my current.
Your current.
I would have MJ. I would probably
rightfully so.
Scrap Durant for that.
I think a lot of people would in that regards. Grant, who are you feeling?
I would to be different, even though I would say Curry, MJ, and then probably Ray Allen. But I'm gonna say Ray Allen, Larry Bird. And then I just want to throw Stephen Curry in there again because he's so good.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I think he's just absolutely deadly from 3-point. I wouldn't want anybody else in there like in history, like off the cuff right now because he's so recent. That's why I'm throwing him in there. But yes, you could throw in a lot of people in there that have been known to be clutch in 3-point situations. But currently, right now, I think the best 3-point shooter in the entire league is Stephen Curry.
Then you can make an argument for his splash brother, though, Klay Thompson.
Right.
Would you want him to get him the ball,
too?
Yeah,
you can get both of those guys.
Never know. All right, well, we're going to go to a quick break. Chris, thanks so much for stopping by. We will see you a little bit later on in the show when we play a little Name 5. We look forward to it. Grant is our leading champion, so we'll have to see if you can dethrone the king, as it were, Okay, you're done. Grant is just like having his own little like Vogue posing session here by himself. Anyway, we're going to go to a break, and we come back. The NHL playoffs continue to get wilder, and the Minnesota Wild are no longer in the playoffs. Grant is going to talk about who the new favorite is to win the NHL playoffs and so much more. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
All right, Grant, we have a little bit of NHL action going on now for this segment. The playoffs, Grant, continue to get kind of wild and crazy. We saw a sweep, the only series in this round to have one. Calgary was very close, but they still managed to at least get one win before they were sent packing by the Anaheim Ducks. But talk a little bit about what's going on, Grant. The excitement we've seen pretty much every possible way that can happen. We've seen a sweep. We've seen a 4-1. We're going to see a 4-2 potentially if Tampa Bay is able to finish out, and then we're going to see a Game 7 as well.
Yeah, and I was getting a little worried for a while because it was looking kind of boring almost in a series because Chicago swept the Wild, and first I'm going to talk about that real quick. It was a really disappointing series for the Wild. They had some pretty terrible defense. Their offense was not the best, but they had some okay offense. But the problem was their defense just struggled so much that their offense could never catch up. Dubnyk wasn't the best, but half the time he was standing on his head from what the defense was giving him. So it was an unfortunate series for the Minnesota Wild. They just met their match with a really good playoff team. Like I said last show, Chicago Blackhawks, this is their 5th time they've seen the Western Conference Finals in the last 7 years. So that's fantastic work. They're a hard team to get past. And it was really unfortunate to see their steam kind of from the second half of the season that they carried all the way through. And they were just winning left and right. And nobody could really stop them. And to see them kind of lose that in the playoffs was unfortunate. But anyway, congratulations to Chicago. Moving on to the conference finals, where they will meet the Anaheim Ducks, who just took a 4-1, or who just won 4-1 in game 3-2. Excuse me, I can't talk right now. Who won 3-2?
You're sounding like me, Grant. Jeez.
3-2 in game 5, and are now won the series. Jeez, can't talk. Won the series 4-1 over the Calgary Flames.
I'm happy to take over the hockey section
no,
if you
it's
think
fine.
you can't speak English this morning.
I can speak English.
Are you sure? The Anaheim Ducks.
Yes, I can't get words out this morning. Anyway,
what are words?
Nobody was really surprised by that. The only thing I was kind of surprised by was that Calgary only picked up one game, especially how they played against Vancouver. But I'm not shocked because they did play a pretty tough series against them, and they did play an entire NHL hockey season, which is difficult within its own self. So, congratulations to the Anaheim Ducks, who will now face Chicago. And I'll be getting later into who I think will win and everything like that. Tampa Bay Lightning right now 3-2 over the Montreal Canadiens. The Game 6 will be tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN. That's gonna be a really interesting game to see how that's gonna turn out. I think the Tampa Bay Lightning are gonna win this series. I've been saying that, so I'm gonna be rooting for them to win this. But you never can count out Montreal. But I think people are giving them a little bit higher due than they should, because Tampa Bay is a fantastic team. They put together one of the best seasons that the organization has had. So they're going to be gearing to get into the Eastern Conference Finals. Looking over to, I think arguably, I actually don't think arguably, I think most people are thinking this, the best series right now, or the closest series right now, in the second round of the playoffs is the New York Rangers and the Washington Capitals. Right now it is tied 3-3. New York Rangers won last night in overtime, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. Yes, they won 4-3, not in overtime, just it was a final. They won 4-3 in the final, and Alexander Ovechkin actually has come out and guaranteed a Game 7 win. Which is Game 7, by the way, is gonna be happening Wednesday night at 7:30 Eastern on NBCSN. So definitely go and watch that. It's gonna be a great game.
How does that make you feel, though? If you are a Capitals player and your captain comes out and says, "Look, we're gonna win Game 7."
Yeah, that's fine.
That's exciting. I see no problem with that.
for a captain to be going out and telling everybody what he expects his team to do, and if you let him down, it's not going to be the best, and it's going to show really negatively on your team. I see no problem with that. And Alexander Ovechkin has done a lot in the series. He has had a couple of really good shots. Game 1, he had just a bullet, top shelf, to beat Lundqvist, and it was a fantastic shot.
Didn't he
Game
score
2,
a goal off his knees?
Yeah, Game 2, he beat 3 defenders, was on his knees, and was able to rifle it past Lundqvist, top shelf, far side. So that was another fantastic shot. He is an outstanding player, and for him to come out and say that, I think it's absolutely fine. It's showing leadership. It's showing that he expects more out of his team. He expects a win out of his team, and I think they can win this game. I see no problem with them being able to come out and win this. The only thing is, it's going to be in New York against the President Trophy winners, New York Rangers. So it's going to be a tough battle for them. But I think they will do that. Now, getting into my predictions of what's going to happen, I think, well, first, to finish up the second round, I think the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to win Game 6. If they don't win Game 6, they're going to win Game 7. So I'm saying Tampa Bay Lightning are going through the Eastern Conference Finals. With Washington, New York Rangers, I'm going to say Washington is going to win this game.
No President's Trophy and Stanley Cup winner this year, huh?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Washington Capitals, even though I could definitely be wrong because the New York Rangers are a great team.
Oh, sure.
But Washington has put up a tough fight, and if like I said this before, out of all the teams that was going to take out the Rangers, it was going to be the Capitals. So if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be the Capitals. So Capitals are going to win that. Now, jumping over to the Western Conference Finals, I'm going to take, actually, Anaheim over the Chicago Blackhawks.
Really?
Yes.
Now, why is that? Because Chicago has looked very impressive so far this year. They go 4-0 against the Minnesota Wild, and then you see them go 4-2 against Nashville.
No.
And you don't think they have what it takes to beat the Ducks?
No, I don't. And here's a couple things. And one thing is the Anaheim Ducks are in the Western Conference Central Division, as are the Chicago Blackhawks. So they see each other more than usual than other teams like the Calgary Flames or the Vancouver Canucks. So, even though the Winnipeg Jets are in the Western Conference, I was looking at the wrong stat. But I mean, the Winnipeg Jets weren't that good of a team.
Sure.
But anyway,
Yeah.
So Anaheim and Chicago, they see each other a lot. Another reason is, and then Anaheim, they got number 1 seed, so they beat Chicago more often than not.
They did, yes.
Then another thing is that Anaheim, first series, swept Winnipeg, only played 4 games. This series played Calgary, only played 5 games. So they've been keeping their series short, but then, yes, you could argue Chicago just swept the Wild and went to 6 games against Nashville.
Well, you can make a few different arguments, I feel like, because you could look at it from the perspective of either Anaheim is really good or the 2 teams they've played aren't that good.
Right.
So how do we know how good Anaheim actually is?
Well, they've proven it throughout the entire season. They're a great team. Getzlaf is one of the best players, in my opinion, in the hockey league and the National Hockey League. So it's going to be tough to beat that team. But I mean, it's the Chicago Blackhawks. They're a star-studded playoff team. With, you could argue, Corey Crawford, but they also have Jonathan Toews, and it's going to be a really great series. I'm really excited for it. I do think, though, whoever wins the Western Conference Finals is going to beat whoever wins the Eastern Conference Finals. So I think Anaheim is going to win the whole thing.
Really?
I think Anaheim.
No matter who comes out of the East.
No matter who comes out
Even
of
if
the
the
East.
Capitals manage to get out?
Even if. I
Really?
think Anaheim Ducks are your Stanley Cup champions.
Wow. Now what... Who has to show up, though? I mean, I'm going to go back to this for a second. Looking at Chicago, looking at the Chicago-Anaheim series, who shows up? Who has to show up for Chicago to pull the quote unquote upset in this series?
The biggest problem that I've seen right now for Chicago in the playoffs has been goaltending. Even though they kind of fixed it against Minnesota, Corey Crawford did not have the best first series, and Chicago started their backup for half the games or for a little bit, and so that's who needs to show up, especially against Anaheim, who they're a grinding team, and they will grind you down and make your defense tired. And then so by the end of the game, you're gonna need to be able to have the endurance and fight through, and then you're gonna get a lot of shots near the end of the game. So you're gonna need to be ready to face these guys. And like I said, Getzlaf before, he has a wicked shot. He's a great player. It's going to be hard to defend against him, so you need to be ready. So Corey Crawford is my key player to watch for into the series, and who needs to step up the most.
Interesting. Okay, well, looking around, though, Grant, it's going to be a lot of fun. The two teams that you follow the most are both out.
Yes.
For the Minnesota Wild, you had high hopes for them. You had declared them to be your Stanley Cup champions even before the playoffs started. You said
Yes.
Wild or Blues.
I'm not even Blues. It was
You
kind of just
said
because
you
I'm
said
a-
Blues. Hopefully, You're
right?
like, Wild or Blues.
As a fan,
maybe,
I was
hopefully.
like, go Blues, but I knew it was a long shot.
Understandable. So, if you're Minnesota, you just got swept 4-0. How do you rebound for this next year, and what type of changes do they need to make?
Well, see, that's the problem. They kind of have the same problems like the Blues do. They have a decent team together, but it's just execution. And that's in my opinion. I know a lot of people probably have, they need to fix their third-line defender, or they need their top eight their top eight forwards need to change or something like that. But in my opinion, they have the pieces together. They proved it in the second half of the playoffs. They fixed their goaltending issue.
They did.
The only thing I need to see is Dubnyk just needs to settle down and get used to playing in Minnesota. And I think having
he's a pretty young guy, isn't he?
Yeah. He just got out
early
of the
20s,
he
I
just
think.
got out of the AHL. He played for the who did he play for now? I think he played for the Chicago Wolves.
Oh, that'd be a good program to play for.
Which is the Blues AHL team. Yeah, so I think he played. I could be wrong, but I think he played for the Chicago Wolves. He just recently. Oh no! Excuse me. He played for the Admirals. Did he?
No, looks like he played for the Wolves.
Did he play?
Who is that? I can't tell by his jersey. The picture's not loading.
Okay. Anyway,
Whoever
moving
QC
on.
is, Quad City. Did he play for Quad City? Is that who QC is?
That is not an AHL team. You're
Um,
not looking in the.
I don't know, man. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing here.
Why didn't you look it up?
I did look. Anyway, keep talking while I try to find it here.
Anyway, just getting him used to the team because he came mid-season and he played well, but he needs a breather. He played pretty much all of those games, so he needs. I think it's good for him to take a little rest. They need to find a backup goalie for him, somebody who can play decently.
Gotcha. So the official word on Devan Dubnyk is that he played for the Hamilton Bulldogs from 2013 to 2014, played 3 seasons with the Springfield Falcons, and then played 1 season with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins.
All right.
So
he played 4 games for them, so I don't even know.
I'm sure. He's a big
Yeah.
guy, 6'6".
Yeah, he's
210.
a big goalie.
Put him in, coach.
He's
ready to roll.
He's a big guy, but he just got out of the AHL. He's a young guy. The Wild finally found their fit. The big problem with Dubnyk is he was kind of questionable as a goaltender, and then they brought him into Minnesota, and then he was just lights out.
You mentioned that, yeah. He was
so-
just consistently good throughout the entire season.
Yeah, but the big thing is he kind of got tired, and I think that kind of wore on him in the playoffs because he started every single game when he came on in the second half of the season.
Yes.
So they need a backup goalie, and I don't know. The Wild seemed to be the most solid team in the first half of the season. They were arguably the most disappointing team of the entire season because they have these fantastic players. They have a decent lineup. They just have the goaltending issue, but they were still losing a lot of games. And then they brought Dubnyk in, and they were just unstoppable. And we've said it time and time again. They were absolutely crazy. And then they come into the playoffs, and then they get swept. Yes, Chicago is a good team, but they got swept. They did not win a single game. And that was just after they played a great series against the Blues. So it was a little disappointing. I really don't know where you go from here as the Wild.
Consistency. You got to work with Devin Dubnyk and get the offense just in a little bit better rhythm, and make sure Dubnyk can trust his defenders too. Because as a young goalie, I'm sure you have to be able to establish that trust and chemistry with those backline defenders, so you know, hey guys, if I'm going here, I need you here, this, that, and the other. Which he's the first year in the NHL. Hats off to him.
Not the first year.
Second year. I'm sorry. Second year in the NHL. Hats off to him. I think he'll be one of the better goalies to play the game as long as he stays healthy. I think at Minnesota is a good place for him.
Right.
So we'll definitely keep an eye on him.
Yeah, consistency is probably the biggest thing that they need to work on.
Yes, indeed. Well, staying with consistency, Grant, that means this part of the show is time for your rant. All right, well, it's time for Grant's rant, and the way that works is that Grant gets 1 minute to rant about anything that he wants in the sports world, and we get to sit here and listen and hope that he doesn't throw me under the bus for something that I probably said off the air that he wants to make the world know about. I'm waiting for it. One of these days, you're going to have a rant about me and just tear me apart. All right, Grant, a minute on the clock, sir. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, and begin.
We're going to have a little Cardinals centered rant today. So Matt Holliday just came out and said that the MLB needs to improve the schedule because the Cardinals have just played 20 games in the last 20 days, which is that could be really tiring. Yes, it's baseball and you're standing there most of the time, but still, you're playing a professional sports against professional athletes. You're still traveling all over the place, so that gets really hard. So yes, I agree with him. They need to fix the schedule. Second half, Yadier Molina against the Pirates. They just played the Pirates. Hit into the first 4-5-4 double play, and Hayward caught napping on the play, did not check how many outs there were, so Molina hits it to the second baseman. Second baseman throws it to third. They touch up, and then Hayward was just
Time's up.
Sitting in the baseline. They throw it back to the second baseman who tags on second base. First 4-5-4 triple play in MLB history.
I think you need to blame some of that on the third base coach. If I was the third base coach,
right.
I'd be like, run!
Screaming at him to go back. Well, there wasn't... I mean, yeah, but he would have been gunned down anyway because he...
Phrasing, Grant, phrasing.
He
gunned down? I know.
That's the term. That's a baseball term.
Know.
But he was like pretty much at third base by the time he caught it, and then the third baseman just...
Yeah,
but
there was really
he was
no
like
hope.
taking off his gloves and taking off his helmet.
Right,
I'm like, check how many outs there are.
Yeah, well, you know.
And even
that's why we pay them millions of dollars, Grant, so they can stand around
especially
doing
on
nothing.
A play like that. You're not going to sit there and run. You're not going to just run. You're going to sit there and wait to see if you need to tag up. It was just a bad base.
No, it really was. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got some NFL fantasy football advice and just some general observations as we go into the 2015 NFL season. And then we'll have some Name 5 for you as well. Connor, you know who you are. Will Grant be able to defend his honor this week against Chris? We will find out, and we have so much more to come. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
All right, Grant, the NFL is... There you go, yes. I was that kid when I was 10 years old playing football in the backyard, and I would go and have my little football games by myself, and I'd pass the ball to myself, I would be like, Monday Night Football,
I remember doing that in my front yard.
John Michaels, Al Michaels, and John Madden did all of my games when I was a kid. I don't know why the broadcasting schedule worked out well. They did every game that I did, and it was on national television, and it was great.
He passes the sidewalk and it's a touchdown!
Yeah, exactly. Game-winning field goals. I was probably the only kid that actually kicked field goals as well.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm pretty sure I did it.
I had a swing set that was set up that was probably wide and maybe a little narrower than like a normal goalpost, and it was about the longest field goal I could take in my backyard, I think, was maybe 30 yards, 25 or 30 yards. So, I mean, for a kid, I was like, whoa, super far.
As a kid, that's like, you 20 to 30 yards is like 5.
Yeah.
Probably.
Like, that's, oh my gosh. So, I'd set it up and be like, oh, the game-winning field goal. Oh, it's gone. Oh, he missed it. And I'm just like, I'm in the background, hitting the ground, no, I missed. And anybody watching me was probably like, that something's not right about that boy.
Check out the voices in his head.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, man. I have stats. I have rosters.
Do you have your rookie card?
Probably a stick figure on a piece of cardboard or something. But I've made some sort of. I'll have to show you my binder sometime. But I still have it all.
Didn't you have somebody's whose rookie card did you?
I have Aaron Rodgers'
right? Aaron Rodgers' rookie card.
Found that over choir tour. I was like, oh,
money.
Yeah, exactly.
Money.
I just need him to sign it. When I meet Aaron one of these days, be like, bro, you want to sign this for me so I can retire?
You should.
I don't think it'd be worth that much. Maybe
it might. It could.
Maybe.
Just wait. You gotta wait. You gotta wait till the time.
See, I was that player though, Grant. That I was a wide receiver because that's what I wanted to be when I grew up. When I was a real boy, Grant, I wanted to be a wide receiver when I grew up. So I wasn't like the quarterback or the running back. I mean, yes, I played every position, but my favorite part that my parents would always laugh about me is I'd come inside and they're like, "Oh, did you win?" I'm like, "No, we lost today." And my mom's like, "How do you lose to yourself?" Like, listen, Mom, you weren't out there. You didn't see, man. There was a controversial.
It was a battle in the trenches today.
The running game was crap. We missed the field goal. Like, you weren't out there, and she did it just to egg me on because she knew I'd get fired up about it because I would come in looking sad or mad. She's like, "What happened? Did something? Did you get hurt?" I'm like, "No, man, we lost.
Muffed the field goal.
The field goal. Like the holder dropped it. Like you have one job.
Come on, Tony Romo, get your crap together."
Exactly. So, and she still every once in a while will dog me about that. She's like, "Did you win your game?" I'm like, "Mom, there was another team actually today. Like it wasn't just me out there. It's funny." Anyway, she'll be here on Friday. Actually, she's coming to our show Friday. Yeah,
she's coming to the show on Friday.
I don't know if she's gonna come on or not, but she's gonna come in and sit in the studio.
What?
So you can meet.
Surprise!
You can meet Mama.
This is the first time hearing this.
You heard it here first, Grant. But anyway, Grant, fantasy football.
Getting to actual sports news.
Yeah, you need those moments to reflect.
Need a little moment in your life.
Yes, exactly. Now, Grant, looking back last season, it was a kind of a crazy NFL season.
When isn't it, though?
It always is. If it's not crazy, it's boring, right? That's why we love sports, because they're crazy and unpredictable. Looking forward to this year, Eric Karabell has released his top 100 fantasy football players.
He needs to get a new job. That's what I think needs to happen.
Now, why would you say that, Grant?
Because his picks are absolute garbage.
Oh, see, now Grant is referring to the top 10 best players according to Eric Karabell of ESPN.com. Starting at number 10, Grant, we'll get to your feud in just a minute. Number 10, he has Antonio Brown, Pittsburgh Steelers. He has him also rated as the number 1 best wide receiver this year. You can take that or leave that. I think Antonio Brown is an explosive wide receiver, but Ben Roethlisberger is also getting up there in age. But Antonio Brown is also the most viable option at Pittsburgh for their offense.
But I have a problem with that.
Why do you have a problem
10.
with that?
Well, okay. This is just off of this list.
Please.
I don't think it is a big problem, but if you're going to have your number 1 guy also be from the Pittsburgh Steelers as the running back, how is a wide receiver going to be able to play as well and get to the 10 spot?
Ah.
That's where Mr. whatever. Carabel needs to get a new job because he doesn't think about what he does.
Well, he's also thinking from the fact of that, you pretty much said the number one on the list is Le'Veon Bell, but he was going to be suspended for the first, I believe, it's 3 games of the year due to substance abuse and other illegal things that you should never partake in. Don't do drugs, kids.
No drugs.
Don't do drugs.
But yeah, rest of the list. Go into the rest of the list.
Number 9 is LaShawn McCoy. He is the new running back at Buffalo. He is also ranked the 9th running back. So from 9 to 1 on this list are all running backs. Rightfully so. When it comes to fantasy football, you need a good, solid running back because those are going to be the guys that are going to get you the most points. Yes, you were complaining about this list because looking farther down the list, Aaron Rodgers is the first quarterback listed here, and he's at number 23. And you were having a bit of an issue with that. And then you look at some of these guys.
Andrew Luck being number 24, I have an issue with that.
Andrew Luck, you don't think Andrew Luck's the second best quarterback?
No.
When it comes to fantasy football, though, the man throws the ball a lot.
Okay, well,
Andrew Luck was a huge fantasy guy last year.
I don't play fantasy football, so I don't know the best fantasy players.
Well,
so I mean,
next year we're going to have a Backs and Grand Sports Show fantasy football league, and you're going to play. You are going to play.
I'll probably pick Tom Brady. He'll get suspended for the year.
Look at this really quickly. According to ESPN.com, the top 5 scorers in fantasy football last year. Aaron Rodgers was number 1 with 342 points. Andrew Luck was number 2 with 336 points. Russell Wilson, 312. Peyton Manning, 307. And then Ben Roethlisberger with 295.
Yeah, but your top 9 players that you need to pick up are running backs.
Yes.
Stupid caribou guy, not knowing anything.
Carabel, not Caribou.
Anyway.
That's his cousin. He owns the coffee franchise. Anyway, looking at the remainder of the list, DeMarco Murray at 8, Arian Foster 7, Matt Forte 6, Adrian Peterson 5.
Interesting choice.
Marshawn Lynch 4, Jamal Charles 3, Eddie Lacy 2, Le'Veon Bell 1. Go.
Thank you.
I know you have things to say.
Okay. Le'Veon Bell. Yes, he played well last year, but I think it was kind of like a one-hit wonder with his season. I don't think that he's going to have a great season at all.
272 points in fantasy football last year. 1,300 rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns, 3 receiving touchdowns, and almost 900 receiving yards. He had 83 receptions, Grant.
That's kind of crazy.
83!
That's a little crazy. I did not think he had that many.
Is that allowed? Is that legal? Somebody fact check that.
Just put him in the slot or something.
Good Lord.
Call him a receiver and call it a day.
Send him to the Browns.
But especially what you said before about him being suspended for 3 games in the season. I don't know if that's the best choice, but I mean, he's definitely, in my opinion, wouldn't be a number 1. And
no.
I mean,
nah.
Yeah,
Can't even.
Yeah, I would not put him at number 1. Eddie Lacy is number 2. I also disagree with that for a couple of reasons. I think Eddie Lacy is a little bit overrated. I don't think he runs the ball as well as people say he does. He doesn't put up gaudy numbers, and that you don't want that for fantasy football. He might get the job done for the Packers, but he won't get the job done for your fantasy team, that's for sure.
246 carries last year for 1,100 yards and 9 rushing touchdowns, 42 receptions for 427 yards, and for receiving touchdowns, he did also have 2 fumbles last year. Lacy finished 6th among all running backs with 216 points.
Yeah. Well, my thing is, you didn't let me get to my second point.
I know.
My second point is McCarthy does not give him the ball as much as, at least in the first part of the season, he was only getting about, they were giving him the ball at the beginning of the game, he wasn't working, and then it was just pass everything. He might have gotten like 15 carries, I think, a game at the beginning of the season, where as a player like Eddie Lacy, if you give him about 25 touches, he can get over 100 yards. Even though you would hope maybe you can get more yards with fewer touches. But I think he might get there. I think Eddie Lacy will get better. But definitely for me, I don't think he's the number 2 because I think he's overrated. And number 2, that McCarthy doesn't give him enough
So would
touches.
you rather take an overrated Eddie Lacy or would you rather take James Starks?
I take Eddie Lacy over James
well, so
Starks.
you got to give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt. He's only been in the league 2 years. You can't completely hate on Eddie Lacy. The Lions are going to be starting a true rookie this year. I mean,
well, yeah, it's 2 years, but in running back years, that's like maybe a third of your career. Thinking about it.
I mean, and Lacy's had issues with like injury as well. I do want to make this point. I think it's very funny And interesting at the same time that Ben Roethlisberger is not even in the top 100 for players. He is number 9 on the top quarterback list, and yet he has the best wide receiver and the best running back in fantasy football.
Caribou's got to get his crap together.
He really does.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I do think it's interesting that Peyton Manning is still considered a top prospect. He's 31st over 31st overall
today. Don't worry.
We are just put us out to pasture, Grant. 31st overall on the list and number 3rd on the QB rankings.
Tom Brady is number 56 and 5th for quarterbacks, and that's probably because we don't know what's going to happen with him with all the Deflategate stuff still going on, with possible suspension looming over his head. Rumors to a season, probably not going to happen, but you never know. The Goodell in the NFL has done crazier things.
Yes.
So that's probably why he's dropped. We're not really sure what's going to happen with that. The big interesting pick for me, at least for the top 10, that Mr. Caribou has so gratefully put together for us. No resentment at all here.
We'll have to come up with our own list.
Adrian Peterson as number 5.
Yes.
Now, I do think he's a fantastic running back, and I've said that in my eyes, he is the best running back that has ever played the game. Now,
wow.
A lot of people probably disagree with me and say I'm crazy and stuff like
You're
that.
crazy.
Yeah, I know. Adrian Peterson is a great running back, but he has a lot of question marks still with he didn't play a lot. He only played one regular season game last year. He just had all the legal stuff. He's not really happy in Minnesota right now. So how well is he going to play?
Trade him.
But then
trade him to Dallas.
But then look at what he did the season after he came off of the ACL injury. That was something physical that happened to his body that really could affect your game, and he had a fantastic year. He became like 9 yards short of breaking the all-time season rushing record or something like that.
Yes.
And he just got his knee split open and muscles and stuff messed around with, and he came out and had a fantastic year. So he could have another great comeback season.
Yes, it's very possible.
It's just It's a little bit of a question mark, and it's weird thinking about Adrian Peterson playing again in general because he was gone for pretty much an entire season.
Yes.
But I'm glad to see that he's finally getting back in the swing of things, but it's just he's a little bit of a risk. Even though Adrian Peterson is a great player, I would put a little risk with him.
I would have to agree with you on that one. But one thing I think that is absolute garbage is the fact that looking at this QB list, that Mr. Nick Foles is number 29th on the list, the new St. Louis Rams quarterback, and the number 1 overall draft pick, Jameis Winston, is number 19.
He's not going to do anything.
Jameis Winston is number 19 on this list. Marcus Mariota is 26th.
Jay Cutler is number 17 on the list.
He's considered better than Teddy Bridgewater, which is not true. Certainly not true. Where's Mr. Matthew Stafford? 14th on the list. Tony Romo is 11. Ryan Tannehill is 10.
Over Tony Romo.
That's
interesting.
I think Ryan Tannehill is not.
He is not going to score more points than Tony Romo.
Matt Ryan's 7. Drew Brees is 6.
Somebody's got to get these.
Somebody needs to find Caribou here and take him somewhere.
Get him some help.
Yes, Jeremy Hill, though, for the Cincinnati Bengals, they're starting running back, potentially, depending on what happens with Giovanni Bernard. He is number 11th out of running backs, but number 12th overall on the list. Some of these other ones. Todd Gurley is rated 24th out of all running backs. Where's Mr. Melvin Gordon? Still scrolling.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting how Melvin Gordon played.
Where is Melvin?
He dominated during the college football season, and then it comes around to draft time, and now preseason talk and stuff like that, and now it's Todd Gurley. And that's all that everybody's talked about. Gurley went overall higher than Melvin Gordon, and now Melvin Gordon is now it's like seeing here that Gurley is projected to go higher than him. Granted, it's Caribou, so I'm gonna take everything that he says with a grain of salt.
I've got to be missing some. I've got to be missing
right there.
Where? Oh, right 16. There. I'm like, this is crap if I just went through the entire list and he is not on here. But anyway, because I was looking at some of these people. I mean, some of this stuff makes sense, but at the same time, Mark Ingram at 14 overall, or 14th on the running back list.
If
and
you want my
26th
opinion,
overall.
don't follow this list. Do not follow
Yeah,
this list.
we're going to make an official list for you.
That will be
people
better.
don't have to get hurt, in all honesty. No, we're just kidding. All right, well, we're going to take one more quick break. When we come back, Grant and Chris Gibbons and myself will play Name 5. No, not Ninja. I don't know what you're doing, Grant. Anyway, we're going to play
I'm
Name
getting swole.
5. Who will be the new champion? Maybe I'll finally win something, Grant. I'm excited. We'll see. All right, that's all to come and so much more. This is the Baxter Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
All right, before we head on our merry way today, before we tackle finals week in full swing, please don't tackle me, Grant. Anyway, we are going to play a little Name 5 today, and for those of you that tuned in on Friday, you heard the weird hysteria and madness that was going on with it. It was a lot of fun. Maybe a little too many people, though, I think. We need to maybe keep it to like one or two extras aside from us if I decide to play. But the way it works, since Chris Gibbons is back on the show with us, welcome back, Chris. Happy to have you back. The way it works, Chris and Grant, you will be given a category. You have to name 5 of something. So I will give you, this is a sample category, not one we're actually doing. So if I were to say, name 5 NBA teams, you would have 10 seconds to name 5 NBA teams. So everybody will go through and do that. So I will say, Grant, 10 seconds, name 5 NBA teams, go. Blah, 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 blah. Say he names 5, he would get a point for each team that he names correctly. Now, you, as it being your turn, cannot repeat any of those teams. Make sense?
Yeah.
Pretty easy to follow through.
You only get the 1 point. You don't get like 5 points for the 5 teams.
The way we're going to do it today, just to try out a new scoring system, is that you will get 1 point for each correct answer you get.
Oh,
that way it doesn't, because it was 2 to 1 to 1 last Friday. I'm like, well, that was super boring. And people were getting 3 and 4 names, but couldn't think of that 5th one. So in this regards now, if you get, you can get up to 5 points. Make sense?
Makes sense.
All right. Well, we will start with Grant. And the first category, sir, 5 AFC teams. On your mark, get set, go.
Patriots, Bengals, Chargers, Steelers, and Browns.
Correct. Look at that. 6 teams in the bag. All 5 points going to Grant. Are you ready, Chris? You cannot repeat any of those teams. All right. On your mark, get set, go.
Ravens, Colts, It's not my day. Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah,
Ravens and Colts. That's 2 points.
It's stressful, isn't it?
All right.
Your mind blanks.
Yeah.
All right,
it's
my
stressful.
turn. Ready when you are, Grant.
Ready, and go.
Let's see here. We have the Jets, the Patriots, the Colts.
Already said Patriots. Already said Colts.
Broncos.
You have 2.
We have the Browns. We
Already said
have
Browns.
the Jaguars.
You have 3.
3. All right. I couldn't remember everything that was said. So Grant is up 5-3-2 after the first round. So everyone kind of catching on now for how this is going to work.
Yeah.
All right. Next one. Let's see here. 5 college coaches. 5 college coaches. Doesn't matter the sport. 5 college coaches, past or present.
Okay.
All right. Grant, on your mark. Get set, go.
We got Jim Harbaugh. We have Coach K. I don't know college
Time's
coaches.
up.
I don't know college coaches.
2 for Grant in that round. You ready, Gibby?
Yep.
On your mark, go.
John Beeline, Mark D'Antonio, Bo Ryan, Tom Izzo, Jim Boheim.
There you go. 5 for
I
Chris.
can't believe I forgot Bo and Izzo. I can't believe I
Well
forgot
done.
that.
All right. I'm ready, sir.
All right, on your mark, get set, go.
Urban Meyer, Jim Tressel, Billy Donovan, Paul Christ, and Barry Alvarez.
Jeez. 5 seconds, a second.
Ah! All right.
This girl is on fire.
All right, the next category. 5 NBA players. 5 NBA players, past or present. On your mark, get set, and go.
Oh, we have Wilt Chamberlain, Larry Bird, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Ray Allen.
Correct. 5.9 seconds. Grant is on fire. 2 5-pointer rounds. Are you ready?
4, 5.
Ready, go.
Ben Wallace, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, Magic Johnson, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant.
That's 5, yeah.
Yeah, that's
correct.
5. He
Well
got
done.
5.
You
He
got
got
5.
5.
Yep, well done. All right, I'm ready. Lay it on me. Ah.
Ready, set, go.
Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen,
Already said Ray Allen.
James Harden,
That's 3.
and Klay Thompson, and
Stop.
Jabari Parker.
Stop. You got 4. You got 4.
I couldn't think of English.
You got 4. You need to pay attention.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep score and pay attention. All right. The 4th round. Here we go. 5 NFL non-animal teams. 5 NFL non-animal teams. Are you ready?
Okay.
And begin.
Packers, Jets, Steelers, Patriots, Browns.
Correct. Look at that. Well done.
Thank you. That was hard. That's a hard one. I was thinking, Falcons, no. Jaguars, no.
All right, Chris. On your mark. Get set. Go.
49ers, Chargers, Giants.
There you go. Yeah.
Time's up.
Yeah.
3 for Chris.
That's hard. It's a hard one.
All right. I'm ready, sir.
All right. Ready, set, go.
The Titans, the Buccaneers, the Cowboys, the Redskins, and
Stop.
Chiefs.
We'll give it to you.
Yay!
We'll give it to you. Chiefs.
Oh, gosh. Last round. Here we go. All right. 5 golden rings. Now, 5 MLB pitchers. 5 MLB pitchers, past, present, not future, obviously. Are you ready?
Sure.
Go.
Wainwright, Fingers, Johnny Axford,
Time's up. Is that 3?
yeah, that's 3.
3 for Grant. Chris, are you ready? On your mark, get set, go.
Randy Johnson, Justin Verlander, Doug Fister, Steven Strasburg, Max Scherzer.
Nice.
Well done.
Nice.
Well done. Oh, Lord. We'll see what happens with this one. All right.
Ready, set, go.
Dontrell Willis, Willie Peralta, Kyle Loesch, Mariano Rivera, and...
Stop.
Shoot. 4. All right. Well, allow me to total fast. Talk amongst yourselves. Any comments, thoughts? How'd you like that that version?
I
of
like
it?
the scoring version. It makes it closer instead of if you don't get all 5, you're one and done. Because I do think
That's true.
I do think
Yeah.
we need to let some other people go first because I always go first, so I always get the first pickings.
Oh, well, that's interesting. I won.
You won? How did you win?
Did I do my math correct? I think so.
Well, we'll come back to that. We'll make we'll make it the official
We'll
announcement.
make the official
we'll
announcement.
recount
Well, let's
it.
see here. I think that's.
Yeah,
I did math.
he won.
Woo! I won.
Jeez, by one.
I
By
won.
one.
You guys both had a 2-point round, and my weakest round was a 3-point round. So I was
Statistics.
Statistics,
dude.
yeah. I mean, if you notice in the, Chris opened slow, but he
Yeah.
came after
In
and he had his hot
the
streak.
first round.
In the first round, you see, Grant, you slacked there with that 2-point round, and
4, 5.
yeah, and then you hit 2 back-to-back 5s, and then it just kind of
Out of the pot.
Well done. All right, so I am week 2's champion of Name 5. Exciting, very exciting. All right, I've never won anything. Now I have. But anyway, thank you so much, Chris Gibbons, sir, for stopping by today. We appreciate it. Where can the good people find you on Twitter to follow your sports knowledge?
At Chicken McGibble.
Chicken McGibble.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a fantastic name.
It is.
Chicken McGibble. Fair enough. You heard them. Chicken McGibble, not McChicken or McDonald's or anything like that. Chick-fil-A. No, Chicken McGibble. Follow him on Twitter. And check out the show that he and Megan Landvater do as well, called Completing the Process. You can find it on Spreaker.com as well by searching for Completing the Process, or just searching for Megan Landvater as well. Chris Gibbons, thank you so much for stopping by, sir, and maybe we'll have you on again later on the week.
It was fun. It was my pleasure.
Anytime, sir, anytime. All right, Grant. Well, another exciting edition of the Baxton Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. Chatted about the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, fantasy football, and then I am the new Name 5 champion. What up? Get on my level. I beat Chris and Grant 21-20. An exciting time. I'm very excited. I'm going to go celebrate.
Maybe you should write a better fantasy article than Mr. Caribou.
Maybe I will. Maybe
probably
I will.
should in
We should have a
celebration.
conglomerate, and we'll all get together and write a better fantasy article than Mr. Caribou. Carabelle. Either way. Thank you so much for tuning in right here at 9 a.m. Central, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, on Spreaker.com. And we'll listen and check out you guys on from 12 to 3 as well on SportsRadioAmerica.com. Tune in radio and live 365. We'll see you all again on Wednesday for another exciting edition. And remember, Friday is our final show before we go on summer hiatus. I know. Well, no, we won't talk about that, Grant. We're excited. We'll live it up,
Focus
have a
on
good
the
time.
happy
Focus
things.
on the happy things. All right. For Chris Gibbons and Grant Coppersmith, I am Baxter Colburn. Take care, be good, be safe, and go Packers!